Hi, I'm Tim Draper, and you're listening to the What is Crypto podcast.
What is going on, everybody? It is your boy Nye, and welcome to the first episode of the What is Crypto podcast. Today, I'm going to be discussing a little bit about why I'm changing this from evolvement and the purpose of moving into what is crypto. What's the whole goal with it? And I'm going to tell a little story about myself as well, share a little bit about who I am as a person and why I'm doing these things, why I got into crypto, and why all this began. So the first step is, who am I? Well, as you know, my name is Michael Nye, and I am a content creator, a podcast host, and one of the co-founders of Titan Ventures, where we focus on building the best media content possible to educate people, as well as working with companies to help them get the right exposure, build the right message in order to target the right audience. And I was doing a lot of different things before crypto. To be honest with you, I wasn't really sure about what I wanted to do. And to be 100% honest with you, I'm still not sure about what I want to do with my life. It's been a question that's been posed to me ever since I was a kid. What do you want to do, Michael? What do you want to do with your life? And I don't think there's ever really one answer. I think life is kind of about exploring things until you find something that you love so much that you just do it. And I think that really describes my introduction into crypto, but it also describes what I was doing before crypto. When I was in college, I started to make mobile apps, not as a developer, but as an idea guy and as a marketer of these apps. I used to have an app called Social Link, which was a social connectivity app that the goal was to help people connect on an easier basis in social situations and in social settings. This is really what got my passion spurred in entrepreneurship. It really got my passion spurred in my ability to create things out of ideas. To me, that's one of the coolest things in the world. Whether it's making music, I'm also a musician, whether it's making mobile applications, and even at a very, very basic level, whether it's sending a tweet, it's all about building something out of nothing. And I love that concept. If I can build an idea and bring it into reality, that's what makes me passionate. That's what makes me excited. And after doing mobile apps and things like that, I actually really explored for a few years deep into spirituality, and I really wanted to learn about this idea, this concept of God that I'd learned my whole life. I grew up as a Catholic Christian. Whether that idea was real or whether this was just a construct that was created. So I spent many years just kind of exploring this, in terms of exploration. And what I mean by that is I traveled a lot. I met a lot of different people from different cultures. I spoke with them about their religion and tried to understand concepts and things like that, such as energy and many different concepts and ideas kind of in the metaphysical, quote unquote, new age realm. And I learned a lot there. Not only did I learn a lot about spirituality and maybe my perceptions and my ideas of God, but beyond that, I learned a lot about myself. I really, really gained a lot from those experiences because it helped with my self-awareness. It helped me become more self-aware and become more aware of my surroundings and be more gracious for the things that I have in my life, which is something I really struggle with, and it's something I really try to practice every single day. And as I was coming out of some challenging times, challenging relationships, challenging experiences in life that really put me on the edge of my limitations and honestly beyond some of my limitations, I found crypto. And I was reintroduced to crypto. I was first introduced to crypto in 2012, very briefly, owned a little bit of Bitcoin back then, but I was reintroduced to crypto in 2017 when a buddy told me, hey man, I'm getting into crypto. You need to check this stuff out. Turns out he didn't really end up getting into it, and I did. I ended up spending 15 hours a day just learning and studying and trying to get into the charts as much as possible, trying to understand what was going on. This was at a time where I was really at a hard place in my life. So crypto gave me something to focus on, and it was all about making money in the beginning. It was all about how can I make better trades and how can I have a little bit more flexibility and stability financially so that I can feel better, so that I can be more at ease in my life. And crypto gave me a focus when my mind was scattered and when I was distracted and when I didn't really know what I wanted to a high degree. I just chose crypto. I said, this is an opportunity, and I can either sit by and let the opportunity pass, or I can strike while the iron's hot and I can take this opportunity and work with it to my fullest ability. So the middle to end of 2017, I just dove right in. And at the very end of 2017, after honestly, I had lost some money trading and I wasn't very happy with the way that I was approaching the situation. I didn't really have structure to my trading strategy. I didn't really have a longer term vision of what I wanted to create as a trader or what I wanted to create financially. I'd found crypto and I had this drive to be good at it. I had this focus to learn about it, to become better at something. And I sat down with myself and I said, it's time to become sober. And I threw away the rest of my cigarettes. I made a commitment to stop drinking, threw away the rest of my weed if I had any weed, threw away the rest of my drugs if I had any drugs. And I said, it's time for me to really take my life seriously. I want to build something in this life. I want to have something that I can be proud of. I knew I needed to dive deeper inside of myself and dig into the energy that I know lies deep down inside of me. So this is kind of why crypto is important to me. And it wasn't until I had built up enough financial stability from trading and felt like I had accomplished at least something basic that I really sat with it and I said, is this something that I want to do for a longer period of time? And I was passionate about it enough to say yes. This is something that I wanted to learn about more. This is something I wanted to dive in and experience more of and understand more of. And it led me down this road where not only am I experiencing more of it, I'm also opening up and sharing my experiences and what I've learned with the people around me. And that's why I got so excited about it, was not just because of the money aspects, but also because of the community aspects. There's so many good people in this community. And for me, that's really why I chose to stick around. It's why I still stick around. It's why I still create content. It's still why I share my story. It's still why I share my message. And I'm going to be honest, I still think we have a long way to go. And one of the reasons why I created this podcast was because we have a long way to go. I want to educate people. I think the major problem that we have right now isn't necessarily a lack of information, but more of a lack of focused information. There's so much noise right now inside of crypto and outside of crypto, talking about it, discussing it, and I want What is Crypto, this podcast, to be a source of information where people can come, learn from opinions, but also really the goal is I want to create timeless content here. I want content that is purely driven from an informational standpoint. I want someone who's new to crypto to be able to go listen from episode 1 to episode 50 and say, wow, now I know a good amount about cryptocurrency. Now I know the good ideologies and the good ethos of what's going on here, or at least the intentions of what's going on here. I'm not necessarily wanting to create this podcast necessarily to dive in and share opinions and get into debates about whether Bitcoin Cash is the future or Bitcoin SV is the real Bitcoin. I don't want to talk about that nonsense. I'm trying to stay away from petty drama. I'm trying to stay away from all of that kind of stuff. What I would like to do is I would like to come in and create a quality podcast that has information and consistent and reliable and trustworthy information so that people can come and they can listen and they can learn. And that's really, really the goal here, because adoption right now is a meme. We're so far away from what it actually means to have cryptocurrency adoption. And I really believe that the one true solid form, not necessarily that's going to take us all the way to adoption, but that is going to get us a base level for adoption, is education. I think we need educational content. I think we need less noise. I think we need less opinions. I definitely know that we need less petty arguments about who's right and who's wrong and which situation's which and who stood out and who doesn't stand out. I'm over that. I think we need more quality, organized, informational content that is delivered in a fashion that people can easily digest and that they can understand well. So if someone comes in and says, what is Bitcoin? I can give them my podcast. They can listen and they can, at the very end of the 30 minutes or the 15 minutes, can sit down and they can say, I understand. So guys, that's what I'm doing here with the What is Crypto podcast. I really loved my time with Evolvement. I really loved what I created with Evolvement. You know, we did over 60 episodes in under a year. Honestly, we did over 60 episodes in about 8 months. It's pretty impressive. I was pretty happy with myself. We had over 150,000 downloads, and we did a really good job. I'm really grateful for my man Johnny, who helped me make all the graphics, for people like Caltoro and some of our other editors who helped me edit it. I'm pretty proud of myself for being able to build out a lot of the content all on my own for a very long time, in terms of the recorded content and some of the editing that I did for 4 or 5 months before anybody else came to help me with the audio content. So I'm really grateful for what we've built with Evolvement right now, and for the people who are listening, who have listened to Evolvement and maybe listened to 50% of the episodes, or shit, maybe you listen to all the episodes. Thank you. Seriously, thank you. That shit means a lot to me. It really, really does. And I just want to give a big thank you. You know, there's a lot of people that support me. There's some people that don't like me. And to the people that support me, to the people that actually listen to the content and actually get information out of it, thank you. And the promise that I can make to you as a listener, the promise that I can make to you is that this podcast that we're building right now, shout out to my buddy at Matthew Aaron. He's my producer. He's helping me rebuild this whole podcast. A lot of this has been his work. So I can't take credit for 80% of this stuff, maybe even 90% of this stuff. A lot of it has been his work. Shout out to him. But the promise that I can make to you about the podcast that we are building is that it will be 2 to 3x better than Evolvement. That's a promise from me to you. I believe the content you're going to listen to, the content you're going to hear, is going to spark your interest in Bitcoin and blockchain if you haven't been interested. And if you are already interested, I think it's going to re-inspire you and inspire you even more to a higher degree. And I want to thank you for listening. So guys, enough of me rambling. It's your boy Nye. Thank you for listening to the very first episode of What is Crypto. You can learn more about us at whatiscrypto.com. We will catch you on the next episode. Peace.